Awesome. Let's start. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining this Coral's webinar. Coral is a speaker collective where we focus on enabling the second line leadership for the growth stage companies. And we are a collective of professional speakers who focus on leadership development, on high performance, leadership presence, and artificial intelligence, and various other focus areas. And from Coral perspective, we do host monthly webinars and where we bring in the impactful speakers and share some insights about the key important focus areas in the leadership sections. And today's segment, we are going to focus about high performance for high profits. Who wants more profit in your business? Type in the chat box if you everyone, isn't it? That's the target. How we are going to link the people's performance, that is high performance, to raise the high profits. To focus and speak about this part today, we have an engaging and inspiring speaker with us, Dr. C.A. Sangeeta Shankaran Sumesh. Thank you, Sangeeta, for joining us today. And
My pleasure.
thank you, thank you. Sangeeta was a chief financial officer turned into a business and leadership coach, and she brings in a wealth of rich experience for the past 30 years in the corporate experience, and then she is into the chartered accountant, management accountant, and she is focusing more about how she can contributing the maximizing the potential performance and profits. She was also an independent director on the corporate boards, and she have and author a lot of books including what is finance, get high, and where is the moolah. And she is a mother of two, and Sangeeta is a professional speaker, and she have received many awards and spoken in many national and international events well known in the corporates of finance, high performance, strategy, and leadership. She believes in value creation for her clients and balances her personal, professional, social, and spiritual life as an art of living practitioner. Yes, we are ready to hear about how high performance can be linked and earn the high profits. The dice is yours. Over to you, Sangeeta.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Arun. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And I am just going to get started by sharing my presentation. Just a second, I'm turning my video off so that, I can connect and then I will reconnect the video.
Sure.
Let me know if you're able to. Oh, Arun, you'll have to give me share access.
Can check now.
Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, it's getting loaded. Getting. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I know
Couple of seconds.
my picture is frozen, but just give it a couple of seconds and then it'll be okay. So whilst we are waiting for it to load, my dear friends, a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. And once again, apologies for the slight delay because of the technical issues. So let's get started. Are you ready, my dear friends? Give me some emojis, some messages in the chat so that I don't feel I'm just talking to my computer, and I feel that we are going to be a lot more interactive together. And feel free to post your questions, doubts, or anything that you would like to know. So before we get started, I'd like to share with you a real life incident about a client of mine. So let's just call him Raj. Raj was a brilliant CEO of a large corporate. Now, his team comprised of superstars, highly efficient people, high potential, and they were just, super duper, very well educated and everything. But guess what? While they all had individual excellence, as a team, they were just about mediocre. They were not able to shine as much as a team, as much as they were shining as an individual. What was happening in the company was the COO and the CHRO were at loggerheads because of the recruitment timelines. So there was always a constant conflict among them. On the other side, the CFO and the CMO were fighting on the marketing budgets. Another side, there were three business heads who were reporting to Raj, and one of them was getting completely burnt out, while the other two were, kind of chilling and, they were not really taking a lot of the workload. Sounds familiar to you, isn't it? Now, what happens in situations like this? Because if an organization were to function something like this, when it comes to the financial results of the company tends to lag behind because the performance as a team is not at its peak, right? And that results in low performance and probably lower profits because the potential and the performance are not being maximized. So, what makes it important for people to work together as a team? Because only when all of them are together contributing and performing at their full potential is the performance going to be a high performing team, and your business profits are also going to keep growing. That's why, my dear friends, a warm welcome once again to today's webinar, HP for HP, standing high performance for high profits. How many of you would like high profits? Can I see a show of hands or something on the chat box so that I know we are all aligned and together on the same page? HP for HP, high performance for high profits. Yes, thank you for those messages and keep them coming. Yes, awesome, awesome. So let's move ahead. Now, if we were to focus on the pain points, most business leaders face a lot of pain points, especially when it comes to their leadership team. Because, like I said, if the leadership team is not performing at their peak potential, you're going to suffer as a leader because I say a leader is only as successful as his or her team members. So let's get real. Let me share some of these common topics, common pain topics that I keep hearing from my clients. There's one leader who used to tell me, I keep telling my team what to do, but the execution excellence is not happening. Another one says people are working long hours, but the results don't seem to match the efforts they are putting in. Another one says, my top performers are burning out, while others are just kind of, ticking the boxes and taking it easy. Another leader says, I'm constantly micromanaging my team rather than leading my team. My friends, these are not just operational issues, but a performance culture issues. On another side, I have some other leaders who tell me, my teams lack ownership. They don't want to take the ownership and the responsibility. And work gets done only when I'm constantly chasing them. Another common pain area is that there's inconsistency in execution. While some projects, go a super duper hit, there are others, even the subsequent months are not really good. Then there are others where they are giving very silent disengagement. They are physically present, but mentally absent. Also, the blame game culture. That's pretty common in corporates, and I'm sure most of you would agree with me because people don't want to take up ownership. They say, oh, it's not my fault. It was him, it was her. He did this, she did this, he said this, she said this. And that's when the blame game starts. And my dear friends, these are not just HR issues, but they kill your profits. They are profit killers. And therefore, it becomes very important and essential for you as a leader to address this and pin them down. Otherwise, your profits are going to get sucked out. This particular gap, I say, isn't intentional or isn't your intelligence. It's more to do with your alignment, taking up the ownership, and the kind of energy that exudes in the organization. So if we were to look at what are these common pain points that most leaders face, a lot of them I have listed, but if they were to pick the top 3 common pain areas that leaders face, what are they? The first is lack of ownership, because the team members resist taking ownership. They just don't want to take ownership. And I'm sure a lot of you have also mentioned this in the questions that you had shared. Yet another pain area is the toxic culture that is there within the organization. And if you're not addressing this toxic culture, like they say, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I also say, culture eats your KPIs for lunch, because you can have all the dashboards in the world, but if your culture is toxic, then your strategy is just going to go in for a toast, and whatever metrics and KPIs you may have, your organization is not really going to grow. And the third and the most common challenge that we face that I've seen is inconsistency. Inconsistency in performance. Like I said, in the Raj's example, there are some times when people are performing so well as a team or even as an individual, but the consistency is not being there. So why, dear friends, I want to tell you, you're not alone. A lot of you who have signed up for today's webinar face these common challenges. And these three are the top three challenges that many leaders and many organizations face. While they may have great individuals performing very, very well, but as a team, they fail because there is no high performance culture within the organization. And therefore, you as a leader, to overcome your common challenges, you need to start building high performance teams. So that is going to be our starting point for today's webinar. So let's get to the brass tacks. What is high performance? If you were to give it a definition, right, what would that look like? But before we even deep dive into the definition, can I hear from some of you, what do you think is high performance? In your opinion, what is high performance? Can I see some messages in the chat box, please? There's no right or wrong answer. It's only your definition. What do you think is high performance? Can I see them coming? Yes. What do you think is high performance? Yes, I see somebody. Meeting the target. Wonderful, Balaji. Yes, that's right. Yes, thanks, Rajkumar. I'm seeing your comment only now. HP for HP. Yes, absolutely. Wonderful definition, Balaji. Rajkumar, yes. To meet owner's expectation. Beautiful. Yes, wonderful. Any others? Any other people? What do you think is high performance according to you? Actions moving towards goals. Beautiful, Rajendra. Yes, thank you. Thank you, my friends, for sharing. Others, please keep them coming. I'd love to see your thoughts on high performance. So if you were to give this a definition, what is high performance? I say high performance, oops, yes, achieving superior results by performing at a high standard as per the set targets. Yes, value-added services to the customers. Thank you, Balaji. Yes, thank you for that. Collaboration and achieving together as a team. Supriya, yes, that's wonderful. Sandeep says high performance refers to achieving high results that are significantly better, faster, moving, efficient than average or standard expectation. Beautiful, Sandeep. I think you're very, very close to the definition. So high performance is nothing but achieving superior results by performing at a high standard as per set targets. So now that we're all aligned on high performance, I'd like to ask you all another thing. Why high performance? What is the need for high performance? What do you think? Again, I'd like to hear from you because I don't want this to be a monologue. Why do you want your organization to be a high performing one? Why do you want to build high performing teams? And why do you want to be a high performance leader? What are your thoughts there? Can I please get some? Yes, I see some comments. Balaji says organization growth. Beautiful. Results are proportional to performance. Absolutely right, Rajendran. Yes. Others keep them coming. So let's see what makes high performance important. And then Rajkumar says because of company growth. Absolutely right. All of you are right. So that is faster growth. High performance leads to faster growth. It leads to increased productivity. So your team becomes a lot more efficient and they can start sharing a lot more. Your customers are going to be really happy because they are dealing with a high performing team and a high performing organization. Your employees are going to feel a lot more empowered. They're going to be consistent because high performance is all about consistency. There's going to be effectiveness in the execution of the work. There's going to be a lot of agility. And last but not the least, HP for HP, that is high performance for high profits. So I also hear Sandeep say, deliver extraordinary business results via 100% employee engagement. Beautiful. And Shekhar says competitive advantage. That's absolutely right. And Supriya says in such competitive environment, we have to keep thriving and driving and can avoid micromanaging if people are performing on their own. Absolutely right. You guys are rocking. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful wisdom with all of us here. Yes, absolutely right. So these are some of the key reasons why you need to have a high performing team with a high performance culture. So if we were to kind of move ahead, I always keep getting asked, what are your thoughts here? Again, I'd like to hear from you. Is it people or profits? What do you think? People or profits? As a leader, what is your take on this? I would again like to hear from you in the chat box. Is it people or profits? What sort of a leader are you? And what is your thought process in this? People or profits? And we have Supriya saying people because if they are good, profits are given. Absolutely. People and profits. Wonderful, Rajendran. I love the answer. Sandeep also says that. Absolutely. I love it. Rajkumar is also saying people with profits, people drive profits according to Shekhar. Any day profits. Venkatrangan, thank you. I have profit and we have hire the best people. Beautiful. Ravi Prasad says people making profits. All of you are wonderfully correct and right. Thank you so much. And you know what I say? Make a small little tweak in this, which is I say people for profits, right? Because in that case, like most of you have said, people and profits definitely does go together because I say, when you focus on people, profits will automatically follow. Not just that, both are, two important pillars of your business and one cannot survive without the other. And therefore, people and profits, where you make people for profits, you're focusing on the people and the people are thereby focusing on profits, right? So both become very, very important. Now, let me share this interesting anecdote that happened with me. I had once visited Scotland. And when I was there, I saw huge banners all over the city. And you know what it said? It said, people make Scotland. And I thought, that's so true for a business as well, because it's your people who make your business. And it's your people who can make or break your organization. And therefore, focusing on people will help you to focus and grow your profitability. And therefore, my friends, if you can drive this culture and the thought process within your team members to say people for profits, then you're creating a win-win, not just for yourself and your team members, but for the organization as well. So can you make it people for profits? Now, coming back to our story of Raj, when Raj was also facing these similar challenges, I asked him, Raj, are you being their boss or a leader? What are you doing to ensure that your people can contribute by working at their full potential? Because you can only control things that is within your hands. So what are you doing as a boss or as a leader that is within your control, and how are you enabling your team to perform at their peak and full potential? Because remember, if you're not enabling your team members, you will have deadlines that are being missed, follow-ups that are being forgotten, accountability that's just being dodged. And therefore, you as a leader will feel the burden that, am I the only one who's caring about the results? What is my team doing? How are they supporting? How are they contributing me? And you are going to face this pain. And that is why, my friends, it becomes all the more important for you to see how you can build your high performance teams. So, let's talk about the essence of building high performance teams. So, let's share the high HP for HP matrix, which is nothing but your high performance, low performance, and your low profit and high profit. Now, what happens when there is low performance and low profit? No brainer, it's going to be a zombie zone, because obviously, as an organization, you're not really doing well, because what is happening is your people appear busy. Oh, I have this to do, I have that to complete, I have a client call, I'm working late hours, but it leading to poor outcomes. And therefore, obviously, low and low does not make sense, and you're in a zombie zone. Now, if you were to look at the next quadrant, which is low performance but high profits. Your performance is low, but the profits are high. That does sound quite attractive, right? But what you need to know is it is a short-term zone, or it's a lucky zone. It's just going to keep you, alive and feel good for a very short period of time, because revenue is probably rising, and that could be because of the market conditions and maybe your potential pricing. But remember, that's just going to be a short-term spike, and your business and your teams are not being future ready. Now, if you look at the other quadrant, which is low profit and high performance, the opposite, right? Your team is performing so well, but the profits are still very low. And that, my friends, is the burnout zone. Opportunities are being missed. Your team is highly skilled. They are giving their very best, but the team is not aligned. The energy is lacking. Probably there's a lot of toxicity in the culture, and the potential is being wasted. Now, the last quadrant obviously is the best, which is the top quadrant, which is your gold zone, which is high performance and high profits, HP for HP. What is happening there is sustainable growth. Teams are aligned, they are energized, people love working with each other, there's a lot of positivity, there's a high performance culture, and this is your gold mine. So, my friends, I'd like to ask you all, which is the zone you are in along with your team? What are you doing to move your teams to the gold zone? Because remember, you are the leader. You have to pave the way and take them along. And that's when your team members will be able to perform at their peak, and you will be able to be in the gold zone. The second essence that I want to share with you is on the identity. Identify and reflect. Now, what do I mean by identify and reflect? I would first urge you to think and reflect. In your team, who are your growth accelerators? Who are the key anchors? Who are the champions who are driving those profits for you? Who are the champions that they're giving their 100% and taking everybody else along with them? Where is the untapped potential of the rest of your team hiding? I would like you to take a moment's pause, think and reflect. Who are those people in your team who can contribute to high performance, not just as an individual, but as a team member, as who's thinking together for you and the organization, who can drive the high performance culture and build the high performance teams. So, my friends, the second essence is to identify and reflect. The third essence that I want to talk to you about is, again, pause and reflect. Like you would agree with me, leadership, high performance leadership flows from the top. So, what is the kind of behavior you are exhibiting as a leader? Think and answer yourself. What is your behavior? Are you walking the talk? Are you a high performance leader? Can you go beyond and make your team members feel energized, feel positive? Do you appreciate your team members? Are you being a good listener? Are you encouraging and empowering your team members? I'd like you, my friends, to think and reflect, because if you can be a high performance leader, your team members will follow suit, and they will also start giving their very best to you and the organization. And the culture of high performance will just start to overflow and be in abundance in your organization. So now that we know these three essence of high performance, let's look at three key takeaways that you can follow. Now, if you want to build a culture of high performance, what you see in the screen are those 6 important pillars of building the high performance culture. What are they? First, can you as a leader harness your team's energy? You know, like the example I gave you of Raj and his team, when you look at his 3 business heads, remember there was just one guy who was putting in all his efforts and getting burnt out, where the other 2 were kind of chilling out. It's not my problem. You know, this guy is doing all the hard work, right? But as a leader, can you ensure every member of your team is able to contribute? Because remember, the collective power of your team is much higher, and the team power is much, much bigger than just one single person. So can you harness the team's energy? Do you give them the freedom to try new things? Or do you just want them to be stuck to the same old routine? But if you give them the freedom to try new things, new ideas will come up. You're sparking and triggering new thought processes in them, and that could result in something much larger, much bigger, and that could lead to high performance. Third, high performance is all about continuous improvement. You know, in Japanese, there's a word called kaizen, which talks about continuous improvement. So is there a way that you can get more efficient, more productive? Can you improve the processes? You know, what can you do about continuous improvement? Think about that. The fourth is the learning drive, continuous learning. Are you, as a leader, enabling continuous learning among your team members? Think about that. Are you enabling their growth? Are you supporting them in their thought processes? Are you helping them through their challenges? Are you urging them and nudging them to learn new things in the domain and the expertise they have? The fifth most important thing is emotional intelligence, which is many times underrated. But my friends, emotional intelligence is something highly important, because as a leader, how are you making your team members to feel about themselves, about the work that they're doing? Do you show empathy to the work that they're doing? Think about it. And by exhibiting your emotional intelligence, you are actually showing the human side of you. You're showing your vulnerabilities. You're there with them. They feel supported and encouraged. And that's when they're going to start contributing more. The next important thing is, are you being outcome oriented, right? Because true high performance starts when people own their outcome. They're not just thinking, oh, okay, I've completed the task. It's not like a things to do. Okay, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, and tick off the box. But how are you making the people feel about their outcome, right? And that is what is going to drive high performance. And the most important thing, which I would like to emphasize, and I'm purposely not put it on the slide, is I want this point to register in you. If you're going to walk out with one important thing from today's webinar, it is this. Please make a note of it, my friends, and that is psychological safety. What do I mean by psychological safety? Do your team members, do they feel safe? Do they own up? Are they able to open up and speak freely about their mind, what is there in their thought process, without having a feeling of being ridiculed or mocked by others, you and others, right? Because they may have a spark of an idea. Now imagine somebody wants to open up and share an important idea, but others are saying, oh, that's such a silly idea. Who wants to hear this? That's so stupid. Now, people are going to put them down together, or even one person is going to say that the psychological safety is touched. And that is why, my friends, psychological safety becomes highly important. Yes, like Supriya says, are you creating that safe space? That is very, very important. Yes, I know my video is getting stuck. Not sure why, but just give it a couple of minutes. I think it processes and then it gets better. But as long as you can hear me, that is all good. So these, my friends, are the important aspects of building a high performance culture, along with your psychological safety. The second important takeaway that I'd like you all to have from today's webinar is setting clear non-negotiables when you're building your team's culture. Just share top 3 things with your team members. And what are those important things that can build a non-negotiable team's culture? For example, it could be taking ownership, having a growth mindset or a solution mindset. Maybe even if there is conflict or disagreement, can they be respectful about it, right? So don't share with your team members some hazard values, these values, this is my purpose, vision, mission, and all of that. But just share top 3 things that actually your team can remember and implement. So, what are those top 3 non-negotiables when it comes to your culture? It'll be nice if you can share this, whatever are your thought process according to your organization, according to your beliefs as a leader. Please go ahead and share in the chat box, because I believe in mutual learning. You know what? You may think as something that's non-negotiable for your team's culture, others can also benefit and learn from it. So go ahead and post in the chat box. Yes, integrity and transparency. Lovely, Supriya. Ravi Prasad, awesome. He's also saying integrity and openness, right? Yeah, openness, transparency, yes. Others, please share what you think are non-negotiables when it comes to your organization or your beliefs as a leader on the team's culture when building high performance. Yeah, teamwork, reliability, absolutely, absolutely right. Yes, and Dharmaraj is also talking about integrity and transparency and beliefs, absolutely right. And then Sandeep calls it safety, quality, and compliance. These are non-negotiable. Beautiful. I am so with you on the compliance, Sandeep, because I have always been focusing on compliance, corporate governance, and all such aspects. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sure all of you are getting benefited from this mutual learning, because in the webinar here, we have a world of wisdom, a lot of senior leaders who are attending it. So it's always great to learn and benefit from each other. Awesome. So if you were to look at your takeaway number 3, what I would call is your OKRs and your KPIs, right? Now, what do I mean by OKRs and your KPIs? OKRs are nothing but your objectives and key results, right? So what are the objectives that you want your team to follow through? And what are those key results that will lead to these objectives? Think about that. I would urge you to set one big objective for your team and 3 to 5 key results that will help you achieve your objectives. Similarly, the KPIs. What are those KPIs that can drive efficiencies in your organization? Because once you've clearly communicated all of this to your team members, people are aligned and they know what they need to work towards. Now, you may ask me, what is the key difference between OKRs and KPIs? OKRs is normally at an organization level, and KPI is more at an individual level, right? And OKR is normally for a period of 3 to 6 months, and KPIs could be again, for about a year or whatever, but KPIs are actually leading you towards achieving your OKRs, right? So go ahead, fix those OKRs. You as a leader for the organization, what is your big picture? What is your big vision? What is the big goal, the big, hairy, audacious goal that you want to achieve as a leader? And What are those KPIs that your individual team members need to achieve so that they are able to deliver the OKRs that you want? Think about that. So go ahead and fix your OKRs and your KPIs, is what I want to tell you. So those are three important takeaways for you. And if you were to move on, now as a leader, what are those actions that you need to take, right? Because I believe in taking action. Only when you take action can you actually go ahead and achieve the high performance team that you want and build that high performance culture. Building high performance teams and nurture that high performance culture. So, what is it that three important things that you can do as a leader? The first one, having weekly powerful conversations. What do I mean by that? Not just your monthly reviews or weekly or periodic reviews, not just your feedbacks. Can you go beyond that? Can you look at forward focused, growth oriented chats with your team members? Ask them, what's working well? What are your key challenges? What's blocking you? How can I support you in achieving your goals, objectives, and targets and your KPIs? Can I act as a sounding board? Can we be accountability partners? Can you share more? Can I help you grow? Can I support you? Have these open, powerful conversations with your team members, my dear friends, because high impact leaders communicate. They constantly communicate with their team members. They're constantly checking on them, not like, hey, why haven't you completed this? You had this deadline, you haven't delivered. No, that's not the objective. Instead, in a more tactful, in a more diplomatic, in a more supportive and encouraging manner, can you ask them thought provoking questions that will enable them to achieve what they want? That is a key action that you can take as a leader, and that, my friends, will help you in nurturing the high performance teams. So we have Venkat saying, how do I get Gen Zs? Venkat, I'll answer your questions towards the end. Let's move ahead. I'll keep parking your question aside for now. Let's look at the takeaway number two, the action number two, sorry. What can you do as a leader? The second important thing that you can do as a leader is business partnering. You know, many times I've noticed in large organization with my clients, I have seen that people are working separately in their departments. Well, this is my department. This is my department's goal. This is the target for my department. But can we move away from silos? Can we look at the big picture? Work towards the common vision and objectives? Can we communicate? Can we build the togetherness? Can we look at partnering with the different departments? Remember, when you have that clarity, that creates the velocity and the momentum to move ahead. Because when all of your team members know the why, what, and the how, results just start to happen. Your team member should, every member of your team rather, should be able to say, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know why this matters. I know why my role, my work matters a lot. And I also know how it gets measured. So can you go ahead and quantify these to your team members? Have the culture of transparency, like most of you just agreed. And can you partner together through the functional expertise through the organization and be great business partner in supporting each other in achieving the common objective? Yet another thing that you could do is to see if you can leverage on the business wheel. What do I mean by the business wheel? Look at each function of your business as a wheel, your business itself as a vehicle. Now, for this vehicle to move ahead and propel and accelerate, remember, all these wheels have to be in sync with each other. So, for example, is your people function, your customers, your marketing, your suppliers, your finance, your operations, your strategy, so on and so forth, are they all in sync with each other? Are they all moving together? Because remember, my friends, even if one of these wheels is stuck, you will not be able to propel and accelerate ahead. right? So ensure that you as a leader are contributing to business partnering, and also see how you can enable leveraging the business wheel of your business. So that is the second action that I wanted to talk to you about. And what is the third action that you can take as a leader is, I call this the DIAS model of high performance leadership. And my dear friends, this DIAS model of leadership, along with coming up with the OIL, which is the Organization Insights of Leadership, this is what helped me get my doctorate. So I would love to share about this. My doctorate was on the influence of high performance leadership on the financial growth in corporates. So what is a DIAS model of high performance leadership? D stands for the drive, your leadership drive, right? How effective is your team members' leadership drive? Do they have the drive to achieve? Because if they don't have the drive, they're just going to kind of chill and not really be bothered. So how can you as a leader enable the drive, the leadership drive in your team members? A stands for the leadership analytics. To you and your leader, look at the analytics. What is those numbers? What is the data actually revealing to you? Do you make decisions based on your data? What are the insights that you can get from the data? Think about it, right? So that is your A. I stands for the leadership impact. What is the impact that you and your leadership team are having on your business, on the rest of your team members, the impact on your stakeholders, right? Think about it. What sort of impact can you do? How can you get better so that you're really able to create that impact that you want? And S is the leadership skills. Now, for you to have the leadership drive, the leadership analytics, and your leadership impact, you need to have the right leadership skills that will enable you to achieve your high performance leadership, which will then translate to high performance teams and thereby translate to high profits. So, what are the leadership skills? How can you sharpen and make your leadership skills more effective? Right. So, based on this, I have a questionnaire which we can talk about later, and there from that questionnaire is what arrives the collective score as an organization, right? So that is what I call as OIL, or Organization Insights on Leadership. So what is your organization? Where is it as a high performance leadership team? And how can you as an organization get better? And what are the insights that you get from you and your team members? And thereby, what actions can you take to improve the efficiency levels as a high performing leadership team, build that high performing leadership culture, the leadership teams, and thereby nurture the high performance culture in your organization? So I would like you all to again pause, reflect, and see what sort of leadership drive, what sort of leadership analytics is in place, what sort of leadership impact you want to create, and the leadership is. Thank you very much, Supriya, for your wishes on my doctorate. Thank you so much. Right. So these are, my friends, three important action areas I would urge you to take, so that, I believe high performance starts with you, like I already told you, right? So go ahead, get started, and see what is it that you can do to drive high performance culture in your organization, and go ahead and build the high performance team. So with that, I would like to tell you that, I'm happy to connect with all of you. In case we are already not connected, you can look me up as the Gain Enabler, as, that's my social media handle. So go ahead and, happy to connect. And last but not the least is, since you guys have been an amazing audience, right? What I'd like to share with you is a surprise free gift to all of you. So if you have any further questions, doubts, go ahead and email me on the email given below, which is easy, sss@sss.coach. And I will email you a gift into your e-box, right? And even now, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer your doubts and questions. So go ahead, post it in the chat box, because I am done with the presentation. Just a second, I'll close the presentation so that, I can turn on my video. Meanwhile, I would urge you all to think about the questions that you have. Happy to support you, uh, and clarify what how I can help you. Oh, thank you, Supriya. I'm really glad to hear those positive words. Thank you very much for the insights. Yes, and all the very best for you to implement these actions, the essence and then the takeaways, because that's when it's going to become a lot more successful. Thank you, Rajkumar. Thank you very much for your words of appreciation. Others, any doubts, any questions you may have, happy to. Balaji, thank you, Sangeeta, for your valuable inputs. Thank you, Balaji. I'm really glad that you attended and found it valuable. Sandeep, great session, Dr. Sangeeta. Thank you so much, Sandeep. That's really nice to hear from you. Leadership is not about bias, but about dias. Yes, Ravi, thank you. Thank you for this that punchline. Thank you. Okay, Venkat
If
has
there are
this
any
interesting.
questions, probably audience
Yes,
can raise in
please,
the
please
chat
post
box,
it in the
or you
chat
can put
box,
your
or you
question
can
in the chat
also,
box itself.
yeah, or also please email it to me. Happy to support you. Yeah, Venkat has this interesting question. How do I get Gen Z accountable for their actions and inactions? Okay. I'm unable to have real confirmation with them. What would you recommend? That's a great question, Venkat. So, what I would suggest is firstly, give them meaning and purpose to their work. Because Gen Z, unlike our generation, they don't easily get motivated by a lot of things. Whereas if you were to give them a larger picture to say, you know what, your work is so valuable because this is contributing to the larger picture. This is contributing to the goals and objectives of our organization. And you are adding so much value. Your work is adding so much value, and you're doing an awesome job because they, like we know, the Gen Z craves for instant gratification. So you will have to keep appreciating and encouraging them. And at the same time, no false encouragement or appreciation, but be real. But at the same time, you need to educate them and create that awareness and tell them that, their work is so valuable because it's contributing to the larger picture. Right. And that's when you're adding the meaning and purpose, they feel a lot more enthused to work about it. Right. Yes, please follow the Kural's LinkedIn page, and you could also email leadership@kuralconnect.com. We are here, happy to serve you. Great inputs on Gen Z. Thank you, Venkat. That's really awesome. Please share some thoughts on sustaining high performance and high performance culture. Yes, yes, absolutely, Rajendran. Like I told you, remember those the hexagon that I shared along with this creating the psychological safety. I think those are essential. It's not like a one-time thing. High performance is a journey. It's not a destination, and therefore you'll have to be constantly continuously doing all of this as a leader, and that's when you'll be able to bring in all your team together on the same page, right? And once you keep doing and sharing this, it's like I said, it's a journey. It's not a one-stop solution. You'll have to keep at it continuously, because remember, high performance is all about consistency. Others, any other doubts, questions? Happy to answer them. I see many familiar faces as well. Thank you guys for joining. Happy to answer if you have any other questions or doubts. Yes, thank you, Rajendran. Thank you for joining, and wishing you all the very best in implementing these. And yeah, feel free to reach any of us at Kural, or email. Happy to help you and support you in your journey. Yes, I think we are almost
Yeah,
right
that's an
there at
insightful
time.
session. Yeah, thank you
Yes,
so much, Sangeeta, for giving the insights about the whether it is performance or people or profits, and you made it a brilliant alignment among all these things. How these three things can coordinate and bring value into the high performance team and high performance culture. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank all the audience for your joining us today. And keep follow the Corals handle in the LinkedIn, which we have shared in the chat box, and also keep attending all our future webinars. We used to host
yes,
the series of speakers in leadership, AI, marketing, leadership presence, etc. Follow our LinkedIn page, and keep in touch with us. Please write if any recommend for you on terms of leadership to leadership@coralconnect.com.
yes.
Thank you
Thank you.
everyone for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Kural, for hosting. Thank you, Arun, for doing an amazing job of the introduction and summarizing everything. Thank you
Thank you.
all the
Thank
very
you.
best. Go ahead and have those high performance team and build the culture of high performance as well. And happy to connect with all of you. Thank you very much, and wishing you the very best in your high performance journey. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining. Bye.
Bye.